Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Oh, my God. I would say good morning to all across the Delaware Valley on the day of the NBA draft, but it's not. It's not a good morning. In fact, it's a kick in the groin of a morning. But it is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid, and I love my Rite Aid. I need to go to Rite Aid because I have the Sixers and the NBA landscape have given me a dramatic headache. All right, a pounding headache, like I got hit in the head with a frying pan. All right. And I need to go to Rite Aid to get some Tylenol. Go to RiteAid.com if you are feeling the way I'm feeling today. So let's go. Last night, the news hits around the world. The Knicks. Well, they pull off the deal for Mikal Bridges, who is our family here at All PHLY. As you heard on Friday, I guess it was Friday of last week, Devon Givens, our good friend and one of the great hosts of the All PHLY Sixers show, and his cousin, Jack, who is Mikal's father, were on the program, and they were detailing what it was like the draft day that Mikal was traded. We're still not over that. It was the anniversary on Friday of the Mikal trade. And here we are, just a few days later, on the eve of the NBA draft, Mikal Bridges goes to, of all places, the Knicks. It's a great move by New York, and it just makes me go a vomit emoji all day long. I mean, it's a perfect fit for them, and it's a great story. If I was looking at this thing like a journalist, like I used to be as a sports writer, I'd be like, wow, what a great story. Like, it's the Villanova Wildcats, the championship team type, all those kids that achieved at Villanova under Jay Wright together, right? I mean, it's Brunson who became a true superstar, and it's Hart who showed all the heart, and it's DiVincenzo who turned into a terrific player, and then it's Mikal Bridges, the one that got away, the missing piece. I joke all the time that if the Sixers were a bucket of chicken, they would be all thighs and breasts, right? No wings. And here it is. They have a wing at their disposal, and they trade him for Zaire Smith, the name that will just ring Zaire in Brett Brown's New England patois. It is Zaire. I don't want to hear about the Heat unprotected pick. It's just sickening. And here, all these years later, it's Bridges to New York to turn them into a title contender and to clearly surpass the Sixers. And they may not be done. The rumors are out there that the Knicks will sign and trade OG to the Clippers. So Anunoby goes to the Clippers for Paul George. Now they have to get rid of Julius Randle, but that's very real. That they're looking to now go get Paul George. And you're the Sixers, and you're stuck with what? Brandon Ingram is the best option? Oh, Lord. We've talked about the process yesterday. We did a whole thing about the process and where it went wrong and all the mistakes, one after another. And here we are, we sit, and this is going to be the last gasp. The whole thing, the whole idea of, hey, and I was all for it. So, I'm guilty too. So I raised my hand. But I thought, well, listen, This is going to be a banner free agent class. So you ride it out with Harris, and then all of a sudden you get to fill in a roster. Unfortunately, the climate did not cooperate. So what's left is musical chairs, and you ain't got a seat. Like, you ain't got a seat. And I don't care what Danny Ainge wants for Lauri Markkanen, I'll give it to him. It's either that or detonate, and I just don't want to detonate. I unfortunately look at the landscape of the East. You already got Boston, and now the Knicks have surpassed you. Knicks are a better team. They beat you last year, and now they're a better team. And I'm truly worried. I'm completely petrified at what we saw. And this is going to be a big day for them. There has to be some moves. They're going to trade their pick. They have to do it. What's best for this team? What's out there? I'm praying that Daryl Morey has some star that's disgruntled that we don't know about that he can land. Some impactful player that he can land that we haven't thought about. I mean, I know we went over every player just about in the league, but maybe there's somebody that's unhappy that nobody knows about that they can pull off a move. Because right now, this looks dire, extremely dire. Well, Kyle Neubeck from the old PHLY Sixers show will join us. So will Leg Day today. And listen, I've been imploring the Sixers to at least talk to Legs about players, right? Like, use his brain. The guy is one of the great analysts that we have. And, you know, those guys are valuable. Like, he's seen the whole league inside and out. He knows how to evaluate players. I said, listen, consult with him. You know, you can always use another set of eyes. So we'll talk to Legs. Leg Day today. Phil's yesterday got Scoobbled. Tariq Skubal, who is Steve Carlton. We talked about Steve Carlton on the show last week. And Tariq Skubal from the Tigers is Steve Carlton, a power lefty who will dial it up to 100. And look, you know, I mean, he shut you down. They're a bad team, the Tigers. Ranger went toe-to-toe for 5 innings. Tigers, you know, finally break through. You're not going to beat Skubal. You know, at some point he'll probably become a Yankee because he'll go to free agency and the Yankees will trade for him. And that's what that is. You got the series finale today, day game, and it'll be always fun. So we'll always check in on the Phillies. Lots to get to. That's popping off. Brought to you by Olipop. I need to have my Olipop with some gin today after the news last night. Olipop. Find your favorite flavors at Wawa, Whole Foods. You got it. Well, I'd say good morning to my boys, JP, John Zapata, VG, Violations, Greg Caputo. But it's a miserable morning. And of all people, it's Bridges. The guy that we had that we gave away who was such the perfect fit, the hometown kid.
Not a bueno dia. Not a bueno dia today.
No Buenos Diaz. No. It's more like Bo Diaz.
Because this pain never ends with the Sixers. Mikal Bridges is now a Knick.
You're right. It is pain. Pain. Prediction. Pain.
Hey, man. We're due. It's the last nail in the coffin.
Did you just take a gummy?
No.
You're like, hey, man, we're due.
What do you want, man? I'm immune and impervious to this Sixers nonsense. Like, this is the last nail in the process coffin. The first was Drew. That was the first step of the process, and maybe the dumbest move of the process was trading Mikal Bridges. So it's all coming full circle. He's going to win a championship next year.
In New
York. And destroy and put the last nail in the coffin. Oh, and give a yo to PHLY guru Vince Pellegrini, just bringing up sunshine in the chat room. Knicks have 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. He's got to remind everyone. What the hell's going on?
Great squad. They got the assets as well. How did this? Remember we were like killing the Knicks for like 3 years?
Well, forget the Knicks, right? Like, JP, think about this for a second. No, you're right. But if you forget the Knicks for a second, and go back to where the Sixers once were, a team with full coffers overflowing with assets. You know, during the process, we learned about team building. It became in the forefront of all sports. The process took on a life of its own that transcended basketball in the NBA. The process became a thing. Assets, accruing assets, right? Sam Hinkie brought all that lexicon to the table. And the Sixers' coffers were overflowing. And now what do you got? You got a team. You got nowhere on the contract.
We got 2 guys.
VG's going to be playing 2 guard.
2 guys on the team.
As long as he plays defense.
We need
He ain't playing no D.
we need a hot tub time machine. Someone's got to go back and alter the course of this franchise. It's embarrassing at this point. And what is Morey doing? Is he in St. Bart's with Brad the Brain? What is he doing? The whole world's just making moves, and he's doing nothing.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And like you're watching, now you have. Here's the other thing. This is the ignominy of it all is the Paul George situation because, you know, they got all of a sudden it came out. Well, I don't know why it came out so late, but that Paul George would rather sign and trade because he could always make more money with a sign and trade.
Right.
So I don't know why that wasn't from the beginning, from the jump like that. So the sign and trade takes the Sixers like steam out of it, right? That's why they win. That's why the Shams tweet was, "Oh, the Sixers are waning. The interest on PG is waned." Yeah, because now you got to trade for him.
Maybe he didn't like the options. He was like, well, might as well get paid if I have to play for some of these teams I don't really want to play for.
And now,
Are you telling me no one wants to sign and trade with Tobias? Are you telling me that? We're out of the sign and trade market because nobody wants Tobias?
Well, the issue now is that the Knicks could then piece OG, sign and trade OG, and trade him to the Clippers, and it's an OG for a PG swap. And as much as I go, Paul George, who is my man Eddie Wright, hits us up and says, Paul George makes me want to scrub my eyeballs with onions, right? And it's a great line. And he's dead right. But you put Paul George next to Brunson, next to Bridges, next to Hart. They'll trade Randall. They'll dump that salary. I mean, that's scary. Like, they could take on Boston. Like, this is the
they're
era
going
of
to
the
take
Knicks.
on Boston and leave it. Leave it to Villanova people to make me a Celtics fan. Are you kidding me? These creeps. And Jay Wright, this guy. I knew he was a closeted North Jersey, New Yorker guy. His tweet, "Go Knicks." Are you kidding me?
Can we finally remove Villanova from the
They're a
Big
New
Five
York
and add
team.
Drexel officially? Because we need to do this. That's my proposition today.
They're officially
Removing
a New
Nova
York team.
from Big Five.
Listen, I know everybody hates Nova. I can't do that. They're a mile from the city. I don't want to hear it.
I can see Rutgers Camden. I can see it.
Yes.
That's not a Philly school. Come on.
Dude, I hear you. I completely hear you. And again, I saw the tweet, and that was an obligatory, I got to say something so people leave me alone, because all Jay wants to be is left alone down the shore, not talk to anybody, not care about basketball.
It's his
Then
kids.
stop tweeting that junk out. He's trolling us.
It's his
He can
kids.
say go Nova. He doesn't have to say go Knicks.
If
Well, I hear you. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, BG.
If Anthony Jr. got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, what are you saying? A little go Cowboys, cuz?
If Anthony Jr. is playing for the Cowboys,
Yeah, gets drafted
I'm
by
a Cowboy fan.
It's his son.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? Like, listen.
And those are 4 of his
Listen,
kids up in New York.
Listen, I would be devastated, right? I wouldn't like it. It would taste like bad taste in my mouth. But if my son is playing, wherever my son
This
is,
guy's got a star painted around his eye.
I'm
He's ready to go.
a fan of. You put my son on whatever he's doing, I'm a fan of. That's blood. That's DNA, blood. I don't get that's the only thing that trumps anything. Now, I would still be an Eagle fan.
Yeah.
How happy is Mikal right now? You know he wants to stick it to the Sixers after that draft night
Yeah.
stuff.
Listen.
He's going to be so motivated this year.
But we learned this. You know what's funny? How about Jack, his dad, is a Celtics fan?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Now, what's up, going to be like, now Jack's got to go all Knicks now.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Trade
it.
the Celtics for the Knicks.
I'm so devastated right now. Like, it's so haunting.
Yeah.
The fact that Bridges, he would have been a missing piece.
Yes.
Like he
Back
does
then,
everything.
even
like,
now.
he plays defense, right? His offensive game came up. He's a perfect complement to Maxine and Embiid.
Yes.
Oh God! And he's going to the Knicks, like who just kicked your teeth in the playoffs. Oh,
It's funny because
this is torture. Oh my God!
It's funny because after
I swear
yesterday's
to God.
show, we were talking about players you would trade for. We didn't bring up Mikal Bridges. I thought, like, dude, I would say one player I would absolutely trade for. Marketed or Bridges is who I would absolutely trade for. And then, boom, that night he gets traded to the Knicks.
Well, and you see what they gave up for him. What? Like, were you kidding me?
5 picks, 4 picks.
Yeah. It's
just
mind-boggling.
I just don't understand. He is stealing money. He's making like north of like $10 million, $12 million.
Oh yeah.
Done nothing right now.
Yeah.
I saw a headline this morning. I'm on these nature headlines. 70 million years on Earth. 40 years of decline. The endangered eel.
Oh, the eel's
in trouble, dude.
The endangered eel. Eel. Where are you, eel? Where are you?
What is he doing?
We need the eel. You gotta do something, eel. Please.
Here's my other problem with what's been going on. Part of the reason why I went into the process, we couldn't attract any free agent. Nobody wanted to come play in Philadelphia either. And like I feel like still now, even with Joel, even with Max, no one says like outright like, yo, Philadelphia, I'd like to play there. Like no one ever says that. I feel like we're still in the same place that we were 10 years ago.
Nah.
Nobody wants to play here, cuz.
Nah, it's not about that. It really isn't about that. Truthfully, it's about building a team, dude. Like you got to build a team that guys want to go to because they go, oh, look at this, they're going to win a title.
When I hear Mikal Bridges wants to play for the Knicks, it's a punch in the gut.
Well, I
for
mean,
me.
they're set up to win.
Well, yeah,
I get
why
that.
wouldn't he want to play?
Yeah,
for them?
and he's got his 3 teammates there, or
Listen,
4 of them at this point.
If Morey would have orchestrated a trade to the Sixers, what do you think he's saying? Oh man, finally the wrong has been righted. Of course.
I mean, there's Durant rumors this morning about him in Houston. Does Durant, if Morey can swing that, does that make you feel better?
Yeah, but the Rockets could throw that 3rd pick overall.
Listen, you got another declining, aging player.
No.
I mean, listen, I love KD, but I mean, you saw what KD did in Phoenix.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Provolone John. Daryl Morey, we'd be better off with Daryl Hannah.
I mean, we're in break glass mode. I used to do the thing where you break glass like for a long, like now it's it. This is break glass.
It's a little Pat Williams in a little break glass. Get a little Pat Williams to come out and save you.
So there was a guy. You don't know this, right? But JP, there was a guy named Pat Williams.
Okay.
He was a great Philadelphia guy, and he was the Sixers GM in like the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And he was a wizard. He then became like the GM of the Magic. Like he got Shaq. Like this guy was unbelievable. He somehow orchestrated this. He had ripped Cleveland off a handful of times. The Sixers that's how they got Barkley. They were a great team. They're a team coming off a title in 83, right? The 84 draft, disappointment in 84, but they still have Moses, Doc, Tony, Cheeks. Like they're loaded, right? And then they had the number 1 pick. They have Cleveland's number 1 pick. And they get Barkley. Like that's because of our man Pat Williams.
It's good management.
No, this guy. I'm really disappointed. I thought Eel coming over. I was a believer.
Oh, without a doubt. How could you not be a believer?
Stinks.
How could you not be? There's the problem with the Eel is, listen, I give him a pass on the Simmons stuff because you go, hey, you got a depressed asset. Like, what are you going to do with Simmons, right? He's a mess. He goes all in. I thought, listen, if you were able to get Harden for him, I to this day, They say no way. There was Halliburton available. I don't know, right? Of course, you're not going to say, oh, yeah, Halliburton was available. We chose Harden, right? Like, duh, it's a mistake, right? We all know that. But you had to go get a guy with fleas. Harden comes here, hey, hoping that maybe this is the stop, that it all comes together. Tremendous Hall of Fame talent, right? And he is what he is.
I think Morey's...
And then you got stuck in that spot.
Yeah. I think Morey's a good GM. I don't think he's a great GM. And when he came in, that's a tough position that he was put in when he came in.
Well, again, obviously, the book isn't written yet, but listen, as it is now, it looks pretty dire.
Yeah. The biggest disappointment is it seems he has an inability to read what the league's doing.
Yeah.
It's a good point, BJ.
They're all spinning around and he's just standing in the middle, clueless.
Well, the Tobias situation, right? Like, could you have moved Tobias? Is there a way that you could have gotten Siakam? Right? Like,
yes.
Like the Siakam piece, that's the guy that they should have went. I know everybody talks about OG,
yeah,
but Siakam's the guy that they should have went and got, because Siakam, think about it. Forget the fact that he and Joe are both from Cameroon, the whole thing. He's a fit on the floor.
Great stretch for that.
Like a stretch forward and Embiid works.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just add one thing about Morey and then I'll shut up? I knew he was going to be bad from day one when he was trying to get rid of Maxey for Harden. That was a trade proposal that he was trying to do to get his guy here for the Sixers. Was to get rid of our young talent for a flea-bitten player that we all knew who was on the decline, and he wanted to get rid of our asset, our biggest young asset.
Go back to producing.
If I go back to that moment,
he wears a Flyer shirt on NBA Draft Day. He comes in with a Flyer shirt on.
I know. I love Andrew, but I'm not in the mood for I tell you about this. I tell you about that. He's been doomsaying for the last since we started the show. He's one of these, and I love him, but he's in old Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's got the old soul.
In another war, in another life, Andrew, that guy's a bum.
Oh, yeah.
He's throwing the word
with
bum
my grandpa
out.
calling Mike Schmidt a bum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's ripping Schmidt.
He struck out twice.
Yes.
Yeah. Shirtless at the vet.
Yes.
On a cold day.
Yeah.
No, but if we go back to that moment, I mean, Harden came off of that was a tough situation in Brooklyn. I mean, you were dealing with the two nuts over in Brooklyn, right? And then the whole idea was the pick and roll game with Embiid. That's what I had envisioned. The whole thing was Ben Simmons was not the right fit because with Embiid, with that talent, you want someone that you can run that pick and roll off of. And Harden was that guy. Unfortunately, it just didn't work. Looking back at that one, I can't really fault Daryl Morey. Obviously, could have used a better backup big because we got
his back was against the wall with that Ben Simmons situation. Nobody wants that guy. I just don't. He's just such an he comes off as a smart guy. Or maybe he thinks he's really smart, but he just seems clueless as far as, are GMs not calling him? Do they have his number blocked? He has no idea what the chatter's going on around the league, apparently.
I feel like if he's calling teams, the teams are just laughing. It's oh, Daryl Morey, what do you want, Daryl? Yeah, they're not taking him seriously.
That's something we should ask Legler. What does his vibe about, how's the league view Daryl Morey? Right. Do they respect him? Does he know what he's doing? Do they want to deal with him?
That
seems apparently not.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like anyone is really. And I'm just looking at our future assets. I mean, oh, God, it's not great either.
We got two guys on the team.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I'm just talking to people, and it's Bridges really wanted to go home with the Villanova home to Villanova and those players. And I get it.
Sure.
But, I'll ask you guys, if your one swing is Bridges, do you do it? And I go, listen, Paul George I'm sorry, I think Paul George has fleas.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah, I think he's a Harden-esque type.
Yes.
Tremendous talent. PG's a great talent.
But
he's another one that I can't trust.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is 100 years old, and I'm going to go all in on Jimmy Butler. Give him a big contract.
I think I may at this point. He's probably the most fun of the bunch. I don't know. Of everything we got to choose from, I might be in on Butler at this point.
At least it works with Embiid as well, because we've seen it before. I mean, it was
for how long? I mean,
I know.
And he gets hurt a lot. I mean, listen, if it's 3-4 years ago, I get it. But at this stage, I'd rather go in on marketing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't
ideally.
think that doesn't seem to be out there.
It's not out there. I keep talking about it. I'm hoping to invent
it into fruition.
I'm trying to invent it. Right.
Yeah. It's the law of attraction. You just say the affirmation enough, it'll happen.
Marketing.
Yes.
Hopefully, Danny Ainge hears.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would.
Danny.
I would go all in. I would go all in.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I mean,
my
marketing the
God.
Bridges is what I would have loved for this team.
Let me, because I start off my day with my affirmation site. So let me give you a positive affirmation for today. Today's affirmation: I rejoice in the love I encounter every day. How's that make you feel?
Except for the
Bleep out of
Sixers.
here.
Sixers, why don't you love us, Sixers?
You geeky. I mean, come on. I mean, today the Knicks got good.
Dude.
The Knicks are good.
Wait, the Knicks were really good.
Yeah.
I know.
And they got better.
I know.
The Sixers are,
You know what sucks?
at best, a third team in the division.
You know what sucks? Like, I feel like basketball has been robbed. Like, has been snatched from us, right? Because it's going to be, next year it's going to be all New York, Boston.
Yeah.
It's New York, Boston.
Not even Indiana?
No. New York, Boston.
Nobody cares about that market.
And the NBA, and
I see what you're
knowing the
saying.
marketing machine that the NBA is,
Yeah, they're going to market that.
they will go crazy. Especially with the Lakers down, and right? It'll be New York, Boston.
It's going to be the 60s all over again.
Oh, yes. Yes. Celtics and Knicks.
And you know what else is going to happen? Leon Rose is going to call Daryl Morey. Hey, I got this Julius Randle. I think he's a great fit for you.
Hey, by the way, Leon Rose, Worldwide West, these are all Philadelphia guys. Villanova. That whole organization's Philadelphia people. It is.
I know.
It's crazy.
It hurts.
Maybe we should get more Philly people into Sixers. Crazy
I feel
concept.
for those people who sell season tickets at the Sixers office, because that's a tough job right now.
I know, dude.
Imagine getting a call
I
from
got
them.
zero interest. They're going to be like, there's times when you can't give away Phillies tickets. It might be like that this year with the Sixers unless Morey pulls something together.
Well, again, it's like, what's next to say? I'm just praying that there's some move out there that we haven't figured out.
Like, think about the greatest move that you think he can do. They're still going to be third best team in their own division.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, unless it's it's a big move and then you're able to get a couple other pieces with it. I mean, listen, I agree. I mean, right now you're aiming for 3.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
But here's the one thing about the NBA, and we see year in, year out. I remember when the super team, the first, what was it? The Nets was the first super team. When those 3 got together, you're like,
Celtics,
oh my God.
No?
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking recent. Like
Recently?
the Suns. Okay. I remember when KD, Harden, and Kyrie get together in Brooklyn, you go, oh my God, that team's going to be a stud team, right? And it flopped. Phoenix flopped.
Yeah.
I mean, there's injuries.
You need a bench.
Listen, I love what the Knicks did. I had to say, I do. I think they're the way they're built,
and they're young, cuz
I know
they're gonna be good for a minute if they keep this together.
All right.
Why?
I know.
Sports gods, why?
All right, coming up, we got Kyle Neubeck from our All PHLY Sixers show. Guys, real quick, how good is Scooble? He's nasty.
I mean, he should be the starting pitcher for the All-Star game for the American League, and it's going to happen. What's going on? Can we talk about Trey?
What about him?
I mean, that ball in the 4th inning, 5th inning starts to run. I mean, Ranger didn't have his stuff, but that would have been an out at least.
It would have been an out.
Yeah, and that changes the whole mentality.
Listen, we got to talk about Trey in the sense that he's been a disappointment, like a big disappointment. Now he's got time to write it, and we've seen flashes of greatness, but he's got to be great. We have to start saying the greatness, because Trey Turner. I mean,
good point.
I mean, let's face it. He's got tremendous upside.
Yeah.
I thought his glove was better. It's not.
It's not.
No.
Stott's better at short.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully,
Scooble's throwing like 101 in the 7th inning still.
I know. Sick. All right, JP, Tell us about what you got to tell us about.
Well, guys, we all need a Rite Aid right now. I mean, I think we all can agree that we could use a Rite Aid right now for all of our headaches that's going on, our heartbreaks, whatever pain you're feeling. Guys, Rite Aid is our spot because they have all the pharmacy services that you could absolutely need. And with a My Pharmacy account at Rite Aid, you can refill your prescriptions, you can schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendations, you can sign up for prescription notifications. All you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. Get started right now at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. Stop stressing about your prescriptions. Let Rite Aid refill them automatically. Enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, easy, and most prescriptions qualify. Talk with your Rite Aid pharmacist or sign up through My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. Restrictions may apply. Get your prescriptions at the same time with one-strip refills. Ask your pharmacist to sync your medications so you can pick them up in one visit. You can even sync with other family members as well. Just ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist to get started. Again, restrictions do apply. Manage prescriptions with Rite Aid mobile app. Transfer or refill prescriptions. Set up medication reminders. Enroll in prescription notifications. Download from the Apple Store or Google Play. Now, transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including over-the-counter medications, household products, cosmetics, and much, much more. Just ask the pharmacy team for details. Again, keep in mind that restrictions do apply. Guys, I definitely am going to need to go to Rite Aid after this because with the Sixers today, it is not fun whatsoever. All right, guys. Let's also talk about our friends over at Mortgage CS, all right? I know a lot of us are a little bummed out here with what's going on with the Sixers, guys. Ben and Alec, who are the CEOs at Mortgage CS, are the biggest Philly sports fans, and they are also probably the best people to talk to get your house buying process started here today. In today's real estate market, it's ultra competitive. Prospective home buyers, perhaps just like you, are missing on the opportunities to win the perfect home. But why? It's because you don't have Mortgage CS in your corner. All right. It may be news to you, but the mortgage company you choose matters more than ever. All right. Even if you're already in the market, you can still explore your options with Mortgage CS. Guys, this is home financing, not a marriage. You may be shocked at how much money you could be saving here today. And the best part about Mortgage CS is they are an independent mortgage broker located here in Philadelphia. And like I mentioned, they are big Philly sports fans. We love rooting local, and that's why we love Mortgage CS, who is based here locally. Guys, Ben Stucker, CEO's phone number is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching here on YouTube, and if you're on the podcast, 267-391-7425 is a cell phone number. Ask him how he's feeling about the Sixers today, or ask him some advice to get your home buying process here started today. Again, that number is 267-391-7425, or you can go on mortgagecs.com/PHLY, and you can also check out the over 370 5-star reviews that people are leaving. So don't just take it from me. Take it from over the 370 people that have rated them 5 stars or more. So guys, get your home buying process started here today with our friends over at Mortgage CS, cuz.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. It's 9:30, and we're brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Download it, would you? A lot of fun.
Sammy from England pops in the chat. How are we?
Oh, Sammy!
How are we?
Oh, mate! We are not good, mate!
Use a Carlsberg. Give me a Newcastle, something.
Yes. I'm about to
I wish
Here's the beauty
Newcastle could take the edge off for me at this point. It's going to have to be something way stronger.
They're big gin people, right, in England?
Yes.
This is going to end. We need some Jack Daniels or something.
We got something there. I know we got something in the PHLY coffers. All right, we have Kyle. Let's go to our man. I love Kyle Neubeck. He does such a great job covering the Sixers for all PHLY. Dude, this Bridges news last night, it was a bat in the back of the head.
Well, I'll say this. I feel like I need to talk you guys off the ledge a little bit. You guys are talking about Mikal Bridges like they traded for Michael Jordan up in New York. Like, let's all take a step back from the ledge. Let's calm down. They are locked into this team now for the foreseeable future. Whether that team is good enough to win a title,
well, correct me if I'm wrong.
We'll wait and see.
They can still sign and trade OG.
Yes, they're going to probably lose.
There was the talk about
probably lose Hartenstein will be the big
for Paul
consequence
George
of this. Yeah. So look, I'm not sitting here. I do think if you're talking about the Sixers angle on this, I think this is a move the Knicks could afford to make that the Sixers simply couldn't. And that the problem is less this trade and more what has led up to this trade. Because, the Knicks already have a lot of their role players in place, right? They have the Nova guys. They have
I like Bridges more than you do. Let's rewind a little bit, because I like Bridges more than you do. And we already know about, and I'm a big believer in upside and Villanova upside players. Like, nobody thought Brunson would evolve and become the player he did. He's a wing that could play defense, that could shoot the ball. He's improved his three-point shot. He can attack the basket. He's got great court vision, so he sees the floor well. I love Bridges. Now, not because of the obvious, because he's Homer and Devon, the whole thing. I think he's a terrific ball player. I'm not telling you he's Michael Jordan, but when you add him to that mix, that Knicks team is formidable, and they're going to get better.
I 100% agree, but my point is, if you're mad about it as a Sixers fan, be mad that they have already been built better up to this point.
Yeah, that's why we're mad.
That they can make this trade. It's not that they lost out on Mikal Bridges, because if you're the Sixers, if you compare, if the Sixers trade 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges, which is basically everything they have to trade, they still have to fill out the entire roster. They have no team. They have, they have 3 guys under contract.
That's not my issue. The issue is everything you said prior to. It's leading up to it, man. Yes. It's symbolic, Kyle. The fact is, they made a colossal blunder when they traded Bridges in the first place. And now he comes home.
We 100% agree on.
He comes home
absolutely
to their biggest rival, other than the Celtics. And he makes them, head and shoulders above them. And that's the issue. It's not that, would I like to go all in, use all my assets for Mikal? That's not it. I would do that for marketing, I'll tell you that right now. But the issue is, Knicks are able to do that. It's symbolic in that Bridges was a wing that they needed. They haven't had a freaking wing. Kyle, they're all they are is breasts and thighs. No wings.
Well, so you and I are mostly on the same page then, right? It's part of why I advocated for more consideration of a deadline move, right? Because I was worried about this specific scenario where you get to the summer, a lot of these options are falling off the board. And then you look around and you say, well, is our best path kicking the can down the road again, waiting for another star to fall out of this? And that's what I mean, Anthony, because look, if you look at all the options, let's say this same trade is on the table for the Sixers, and I don't know that that's the case. It seems like the Knicks and Nets were pretty locked in on this. But let's say your options were trading 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges, trading multiple firsts for 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, trading for Paul George, who looks like at this point, it looks like more likely he's going to opt in and force a trade somewhere or maybe stay in LA. Trade multiple firsts for Brandon Ingram. Like, none of these options are something that you and I wake up, get out of bed in the morning and are like, hell yeah, that's the one we're doing. We're really excited about it. And so the problem is that they haven't built a more complete team up to this point, so that when you want to push these chips in, when you want to get that final piece, then you can say, we already got the rest taken care of.
Let me ask you a question. Was Siakam ever on the table, or could they have ever landed him? Because he was the they could never have gotten him.
Well, it's not so much that they could never have gotten him. It's that I don't think the Nurse-Siakam relationship is on good terms. So that was why they were in for
at the deadline before he goes to Indiana. Like, well, how come you don't make a play for him? Because I thought he was a perfect fit next to Embiid and Maxey.
Yeah. So the reason that OG they pursued him certainly prior to the trade deadline. The reason they pursued him and they didn't pursue Siakam, I believe, is because they felt the cost was more reasonable. 2, I don't think they felt great about where the Siakam Nurse relationship was, and that stuff's been out there for a long time.
I know.
So I think that's the main problem. To your point, look, it's maybe
real, you know.
If you want to try to do the pipe dream thing here, Anthony, I know that the word on the street was that the Nets were trying to build around Bridges, like get another guy, and they moved him. So I know you're big on the marketing train, and everything I've heard, everything I know that you've heard is that they're not moving him, they want to extend him, etc. I don't know. Maybe you can make the moon and the stars offer and try to get in the mix for him, because I do think he fits great. But again, that still leaves you with that same problem, which is, okay, you have marketing.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, maybe you can get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and he helps you. Maybe you can get some good bench pieces, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And that is why that's the problem I've had with the last, let's say, year and a half of team building. It's that they've left so much to this offseason, and you're not in a position with Joel Embiid at 30, 31 years old to just say, hey, we're going to take another sabbatical year and just wait for something to happen. You cannot afford to do that.
No, that can that you want to kick down the road is filled with soup, and it'll break your toe. All right? Like, you can't kick anymore. You're done. Like, that's my biggest problem. You're at the point where, like, I've never considered this, and I hate talking about it. And you probably know where I'm going to go. I don't want to do this. But you're almost leaving me in a bad spot where I got to at least entertain the thought of it, which is the Embiid piece. Like, my whole thing has always been to, build around Joel and take another shot. Exhaust Joel until, like, I wanted Joel's career to end here, right? Like, let's see if they can do it. But now when you start to look at the landscape, you go, well, am I better off taking a knee and moving him now? Like, I'm actually entertaining that, something I'm completely against.
Well, the answer is still no. But, yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. There might reach a point, let's say they strike out this offseason, which is looking more and more like a reasonable possibility. How long before he gets mad? Like, how long before that's a real consideration. And here's the other thing. I wrote about this last night.
That was my next point, which is when Joe goes, yo, guys, you've effed this up 7 ways from Sunday, right? It started with Tobias and Jimmy. Right? And it's just continued. There's been one mistake after another. At some point, Embiid goes, I'm tired of being the pincushion, all right? Everybody's blaming me when you guys failed to put a good enough team around me to flourish.
Well, and Anthony, I'll bring up another name. He is not as ornery as Joel is. Think about Tyrese Maxey's perspective on the last year, right? You go to him last summer and you say, hey, look, we're not giving you this extension. The whole reason that you're going to have to, take on added risk this year, maybe you get injured, maybe something happens where you're going to lose a lot of long-term money, is because the cavalry is coming next offseason. We're loading up. We need you to do this for us, and it will be paid back in the form of a better team. And then you come away from this offseason with like, hey, we're going to wait again. Like, Maxey's a great kid, and I don't think he's someone who would, cause a fuss. It's his first contract after his rookie deal, all that. He is represented by Rich Paul, who is going to notice something like this, is going to say, hey, what the fuck with my client? Sorry, excuse my French, everybody. But like, that's the sort of message he's going to give to Daryl Morey. It's like, you sold me and my client this bill of goods and said, this is why we're doing it. This is why he has to wait when no ascending young player of his caliber generally has to wait to sign this type of extension. And then you're telling me, all right, we're going to sign a bunch of balloon deals on short-term free agents so you guys can maybe make a trade in the future. That's not going to be helpful in terms of that relationship, I would imagine.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Thanks for making my day even better. I gotta worry. The one person I thought I didn't have to worry about, but listen, you're right. When you read the tea leaves, you're right. So at what point do you make the judgment? Because if you wait another year, like, oh God, I can't believe I'm even saying this. Because you and I always saw lockstep. I'm not trading Embiid. if there is no cavalry coming for the next year, maybe two, now you're talking about Joel, 2 more years on Joel. There's
so much pressure to get this right now because
at that point,
yeah, we all know with the health situation with Joel, he's a constant risk to be out of the lineup. If you continue to build around him, and I 100% believe they're going to ride him till the wheels fall off. But if you want to build around him, you have to try to do it before his body really gives out, right? Like he has at least been able to play and be on the floor in the playoffs. Imagine a scenario in a few years from now, where he's not able to. And then it's just, it's Maxey and whoever we have left. So there is real urgency that needs to be shown. We've been saying on our Sixers show for months, like they need to get this right. They need to show like the proper urgency for this moment. And so look, the offseason really hasn't started for them yet, right? We will judge it when it's all said and done. I don't want people panicking right now because other teams have made moves. They're not the only team that can. I know it's going to happen.
He just tells us Maxey's going to want to get traded. Don't panic, everybody.
How do you not panic at this point? Like, I can't tell people not to panic. I'm panicked. I mean, honestly, you look at it and you look at the other options. Like, all right, Brandon Ingram. I don't hate Brandon Ingram, right? I don't hate that idea. But the issue is you're looking up at Boston and New York and you're going, man, Brandon Ingram better flourish to have a prayer, right? Because you're looking up at 2 really formidable teams. And that's not mentioning anybody else that are making improvements.
Well, and I think really the problem here, we're focused on the Knicks because they made the most immediate move. The problem is that Boston is so much better than the rest of the conference.
Oh, that's why I said
And again, they did that by making these moves over time, right? Like, hey, trade for Derek White at this deadline. Last offseason, they make the smart Porzingis move. And then they make the holiday trade. Like, this is not something that they went into one offseason, they completely flipped the team and just had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in place. Like, this has been a years long and across multiple executives, right? Like, Danny Ainge is running the team, makes these important picks, important trades with the Sixers. He leaves, and Brad Stevens goes from coach to the front office, and he continues to make great moves. Like, they've been so much better run than not just the Sixers, but most of the NBA during this period.
Yeah.
It stings. It's still the Sixers can never even when the Sixers have been successful, they're always like the little brother to the Celtics who win 4 titles while they're winning 1. So it's,
you're telling me that I lived through that. All right. You didn't have to see them as I'm a kid and they're up 3-1 on Boston. And Moses is about to take out the Lakers on the Western Conference. The title is ours. And they blew a 3-1 lead, dude. And then even after they win, they still have the best team, but it's not even close. They have the best team in the NBA. And they lose to the freaking Nets in the first round. And you know what Doc said on the Sunday they lost that game? Mail in the stats. It was a foregone conclusion. It was a best-of-5 series. The game was at the Spectrum. And Dr. J says, mail in the stats. And they freaking lose. All right? This is the pick. Pat Williams has them, like, you want to talk about coffers being full. We were just talking about to start the show. Kyle, they're one of the best teams in the league in 84, and they have Cleveland's first-round pick. Like, they were this close to getting Michael Jordan, right? And they wound up getting Charles. Like, and they blew it. They blew it. They traded for a one-legged, bone-on-bone Jeff Rulin and a guy with iritis in Cliff Robinson. All right? Instead of doing the obvious. Oh, this franchise has put me through hell, Kyle. Now let's go back into the process days where you made your bones. And that offseason, after the Colangelo calamity, right? Forget about even the Markelle Fultz thing and everything else. It's the offseason that he's doing Twitter eggs. He and is out, and there's the organization's rudderless, and it's run by, partial owners and, Brett Brown, and it's a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about the obvious moves, they had the perfect fitting wing who we're talking about today, Mikal Bridges.
That's why we're upset. That's why I'm upset.
And they traded him away.
It's symbolic, Kyle. That's what I'm talking about. It's symbolic. And how do you not read, oh, God, dude. And you lived it. You covered it. And I remember Brett talking about Kawhi Leonard with Zaire Smith. Are you freaking out of your mind? And I love Brett. One of the nicest guys in the world, right? I was close. I was I was doing this whole process book. I saw you on the road, the whole thing. And I'm going, Kawhi Leonard, this guy, Bridges is the perfect fit with them. Perfect fit. And the Villanova player is NBA type ready. They're well coached. They're developed, right? They're developed. They're going to have a seal. They're going to have an upside. And they never saw the upside. They just thought Bridges was just a 3-and-D player, like Timothy Luau Cabarro. Come on, man. Where's your basketball IQ?
Our guy Devon Givens would have set them straight if he had the opportunity. Unfortunately, we are where we are today.
Jay Wright would have set them straight.
That's right. Well, I don't think I did a good job talking you off the ledge. It seems like you're madder now than when I came on.
Yeah, you excited me even more. And then you throw in the Maxey thing. Because truthfully, let's end on positive stuff. All right. Give me the best case scenario.
Look, I know I don't think either one of us are huge Brandon Ingram fans, right? Or at least I like him, but I don't love him.
Right.
I think because of that, though, and that sentiment is true around the league, I think he's gettable for a reasonable price. And so I think if you're the Sixers, you say, we take a swing on Brandon Ingram. We get a good free agent in a guy like Caldwell Pope. We can bring back a couple guys, Oubre, Batum, Lowry, on deals that are not long-term deals. They're just, you're keeping some continuity. And you say, Maxey's going to take another leap. We're going to do something. Maybe you get a backup center like Andre Drummond, can eat a lot of minutes, protect Joel in the regular season, keep him in his, case of glass that you have to keep him in order to get him.
Andre Drummond. Oh, wow.
Listen, I'm just saying, Anthony, I can't sit here and be like, well, they should just trade 5 first-round picks for marketing.
No, I agree with you. No, you're you're intellectual. I completely I'm with you. This is reality what you're supplying, and I appreciate that. And that I agree with you is probably the best case scenario, unless there's somebody out there that is disgruntled, unhappy, whatever it is that we don't know about.
Yeah, I just think look, Ingram is not. He's not what Jimmy Butler was when he came here, right? He's not that level of player. He's got more warts, but he's better than I think people think after a terrible end to last season. And as we've seen in some of these teams that have, made deep runs, part of what you need to do is look at a guy who has underperformed in other situations and say, in this spot as our third guy with his skills, he can go to the next level and we can go to the next level. Like Dallas buys low on Kyrie Irving, they go to the finals. The Celtics say, hey, we'll pay a premium to get someone like Derek White. That's a guy who threatened to make an all-star team this year. And they trade for Porzingis, who he failed as one of the lead guys elsewhere. He then becomes one of the best, 4th, 5th options in the league, opens things up, and they play a different way. So you can't look at it as like Paul George. Oh, Paul George failed here, or Brandon Ingram failed here, or Jimmy Butler hasn't quite gotten there in Miami. You have to say, what does he do for this team? What can he do with our coaching staff? using Joel Embiid and Maxi's attention to get better shots, to play 4-on-3s, to not have to be the guy who carries the load every single night. And that's why, to your point about Bridges, it's why Bridges would have made sense here, because he doesn't have to be the number one guy. Like in Brooklyn, he would have made sense. But there are other guys out there. It is on them to prove to you, to prove to the fans, to prove to us that they can identify and acquire that guy. But I'll end it where I wanted to start it. All hope is not lost, but they do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I love you, brother. You know you're my man.
It's an honor to be your man, cuz. So I love that.
Thanks, buddy. We'll be watching later. Kyle Neubeck, all PHLY Sixers, who is
just a ray of sunshine. Not only do they stink right now, we're going to lose Maxey.
So get ready for leg day, too, because leg day's coming up.
Oh, it's great.
Leg day's never easy, especially today.
I need therapy, right?
We all do.
I think I need more therapy after Kyle, right? Like, so now Legs is going to come in. Oh, and he's going to go from 50,000 feet talking about how great the Knicks and the Celtics are going to be.
Dude, Kyle's like an assassin. He's got his surf shop hoodie on. He's all laid back in his chair, just devastating us with uppercuts.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong, buddy.
It's absolutely terrible.
Oh, my God. I'm about ready to put Andrew's Flyer shirt on at this point.
I got to put Andrew in the closet.
So a quick shout out to RB Take on Twitter. He goes, offer every draft pick for Larry Markkinen, sign OG Anunoby. Let's go to war at this point. And I absolutely felt that tweet.
I'm with the prophet in the chat room. You just draft Bronny at 16 and hold him hostage. I am in on that. Yeah. And then trade for Durant. I'm in.
I love that idea. I love holding him hostage.
Yeah. All right, your move. We got Bronny first round pick.
I love the idea of holding him hostage, man. Like put him in the basement.
Holding up like today's newspaper.
Yeah.
Bronny drafted first round.
Yeah.
Then we need a podcast reviewer head coach then, VJ.
Yes. Oh my God. We get Paul George to be player coach because he's studying to be a great podcaster. He said he's watching tape of Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry, that's a VG dog.
Yeah, you might as well do it now.
It's just absurd. It's absurd. Like, honestly, it's absurd. Paul George said that he's watching tape of Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith to become a better podcaster.
Is he like breaking down film of it?
Yes. Yes.
This is the world we're in. This is a guy that's going to come save us potentially. Numbskulls.
Dude, I can't handle it anymore. I swear to God.
The NBA's out of control.
It's way out of control. Michkov!
Yeah.
Yes. Let's get some Flyers talk up in
This is
here.
a Flyer sound, baby.
Michkov. The other thing we didn't even touch on was Jaws chiming in on Jalen being a leader.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jaws?
Can't even think Eagles right now.
Speaking of Jaws, I'll be ready for some soul this fall instead of Sixers basketball. Bring back the soul, baby.
Let me tell you about Bet Parks and the Bet Parks Sportsbook Casino app. Day baseball today, baby. 1:10. Fightins, Detroit, Game 3, the series Spencer Trumbull. I like pitches for the Fightins today. Check out the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Fightins -1.5 on the run line. Over under is 9 runs. If you bet the first inning, you can bet the first 5 innings, the whole game. Bet all your favorite sports on the Bet Parks and at now. Play live baccarat, live roulette, also several different live blackjack games. Play them all right now with a live dealer right on your phone with the Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app. Plus, hundreds of exciting online slots. Zeus, fantastic fireworks, Lucky Cherry, all the action, excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Safe, simple, easy to use. My only app I use, recommend odds, bets, slots, games right in your pocket. Great offer for new users. Download the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app right now. Get up to $1,000 casino bonus if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. Bet Parks. And we're brought to you by Primo Hoagies. Yes. Like tonight would be a perfect night. All right, you sit down, watch the NBA draft. You got the Primo hoagie tray, right? It's, me and Moss are home. I got Uncle Tooch coming over. We'll come and hang out, watch with the Primos.
By the way, you can bring those at the draft party at Sixers. They allow food.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
You can bring your food.
Listen, it's the greatest. Like summertime, nobody wants to cook. Make it Primo. Sports and Primos goes together. Primo Hoagies, the original on Rittner Street. That same taste, over 90 area locations. PrimoHoagies.com. You'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. Nah, man. It's a Primo. All right, 10 o'clock. And it is leg day.
Leg day! Leg day! Leg day!
That's the greatest. I freaking love it.
What's up?
Yo, brother, I miss you, man. I'm sorry.
What's happening, man?
Sorry to.
Let me hold on. Let me turn this on.
You've been all over the planet.
Dude, I don't even know what hotel I'm in right now, what city I'm in. I don't even know where I'm at.
You look good, though, man. Looks like a nice room.
It's a very nice room. ESPN doesn't, they don't go cheap when they hook us up in these rooms. So it's a nice room. I'm in New York. Just finished a couple days of, getting ready for the draft with some shows here. I'm getting ready to leave. As soon as we get done, I got to go up to Bristol. So I'll be on tonight on Sports Center, I believe, right before the draft. And then after, I believe I'm doing Van Pelt tonight to talk about the draft.
Well, you've been killing it, all right? I watch every one of your hits, and it's just brilliant stuff. Let's get right to it. You're in New York, and the city that never sleeps is shook by Mikal Bridges trade, man. They are good.
Let me tell you something, man. It was a wild, surreal scene last night. So I'm with a group of people, and listen to like some of the people at this table. We're having dinner at a restaurant in New York, and just cutting it up, telling stories. So you got Jay Billis, myself, Seth Greenberg, PJ Carlissimo, and Alan Hahn, who's a big MSG guy in New York who does some ESPN stuff for us too. So and other people. We're all sitting there, and all of a sudden, everybody's grabbing their phones because it went down. It went down right there while we're eating, man. I literally had like a fork. I had a giant tomato on my fork. I'm getting ready to put in my mouth, and everybody's freaking out, grabbing their phones, trying to take in what just happened. And it was actually, I think it was PJ Carlissimo's son was the first one, and he's like, "Hey, 5 picks for Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks." Like he breaks the story to all these guys I just mentioned. It's hilarious, man. It's surreal. So of course, we're all trying to process this, man. It was a blow. It was a blow to the Sixers for sure, but I think just, the Eastern Conference in general. And like, there's a lot of ways to look at this. They gave up an awful lot. Obviously, it's a lot of picks. A lot of those picks aren't going to be good picks. Let's be clear about that. These are going to be very low late first round picks. And if I'm not saying they're not worth anything. I'm just saying it's not like you're talking about getting a couple of lottery picks here, top 5 picks. Like these are going to be low picks, and they decided what they like the way their team is positioned to in the prime with their guys, the prime years to go for this now and load up and just potentially have a team that can unseat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. And I think the key is can they retain OG Anunoby? And I talked to somebody this morning that feels like it's not a done deal that he stays in New York, but it looks that's what's going to happen.
Well, so there was some talk that they would sign and trade OG for Paul George.
Yeah, I'm. Who knows, man? Like right. You're trying to get information from people that you don't even know who's telling the truth, who's misleading you. And I'm not saying the people I talk to would do that to me. It's what the information they're getting. Like who knows?
Oh yeah.
Who knows? But because I originally, as soon as I saw the trade went down, Ant, I was like, well, then that means OG Anunoby's out. Because, but here's the thing. If you think you're going to play a lineup with Brunson, Bridges at the 2, OG at the 3, and then Randall, and then most likely Hartenstein, and Mitchell Robinson's going to be out of there. If that's your starting 5, I mean, that's putting DiVincenzo back on the bench. And after the year he just had, and I don't know how receptive he's going to be to that. So
you got Josh Hart,
and then Josh Hart too. because you can't start all these guys. And I don't think you're going to be playing a lineup with OG at the 4 because then you got Randall. Like, what are you going to do with Julius Randall? So
aren't they going to dump him? I thought they would try to dump him, move him.
As of right now, there's no information in that regard. You might be right. Maybe that's what they end up doing. And if you do that, then is that what you're going to do, though? Let's just say Randall's out of there. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to go with Anunoby at the 4 with Bridges and then DiVincenzo.
Hart plays big.
He does play big because, you can't start all of them is my point. And Hart and DiVincenzo just started for that team and had a great run for that team in the postseason. And they become overnight icons in New York. So one of those guys or both of those guys is now going to have to go back to the bench if you're going to have OG Anunoby and Bridges and Brunson. So who knows? I mean, we got to see how this plays out. But look, they went out and got a guy. And look, I think Bridges was a guy that left Phoenix and he went to Brooklyn and he was pretty hyped. It was a big deal to get him. It looked like they did a nice job of replenishing after the disaster that the Durant, Irving, and Harden situation was. That they did a pretty good job of reloading with Bridges. But I think he also showed you this year he's not a top of the food chain guy. He's not. Like, you're not going to contend or compete if Mikal Bridges is your best player. That's not going to happen. And you saw that this year in Brooklyn. So as a second or third piece next to a guy like Brunson, now you got something, and especially the way he defends. If you had a team with Anunoby and Bridges on the court at the same time, you talk about your wing defense. My goodness. And then you got Hart, whether he's coming off the bench or whatever, and then Hartenstein, like that's a team, man, you look at and just go, wow, they position themselves to potentially grab a hold firmly of the number 2 spot in the East with a real challenge to the Celtics if that's how this plays out. But we've got to see where the rest of these dominoes fall, Anthony. I don't know what's next for the Knicks after this. All we know is that right now they went out and they threw an awful lot at the Nets to get Mikal Bridges, and they got him. And now, I heard, this is true, but I heard a rumor that the Knicks are now looking to sign Dwayne McClain, Doug West, John Pannone, and Mark Plansky. I heard Mark Plansky's coming in today for a look.
Plansky's a stretch 4.
Plansky's a stretch 4. Harold Jensen, I think, is stretching right now. Maybe get some run. We're gonna see. We're gonna see who ends up in Nova, man.
It's uncanny. I need Dr. Legler to address the Sixers because I'm out of my mind right now. I look at the options. I look at where they're at. And full disclosure, I sent a note to someone very high up there saying that they should consult with Tim Legler as they build out a roster because no one, first of all, how I feel about how you look at players and evaluate players. And when you need to put an entire roster around Embiid and Maxey, you've seen everybody in this league over and over and over again. So I said, you know what? I think you should call Legs. I don't. Have they called you yet?
They have not called me yet, man. They've not called me yet.
I think that better come. But let's discuss it. If you are Daryl Morey, how do you approach this thing? Right? Paul George isn't as attractive on a sign and trade. He wants to sign and then get traded. You have, what are your options? We don't know what's going to happen with Anunoby. You also have Brandon Ingram's name's now coming up a lot. Where are you looking? Because right now, it's pretty dire.
Yeah, man. So, you're looking at the list, Klay Thompson would be a guy that's kind of in the mix there. You got DeMar DeRozan's name coming up. Paul George has been the most prevalent name. I just spent a lot of time over the last 2 days talking about Paul George, specifically as he relates to coming to Philadelphia. And my view on that is first of all, who knows where his mind is at? You got to be different to take on that. To take on coming to Philadelphia. You just do. You got to be so thick-skinned and tough and so sure of yourself and understand, look, you're not coming in to necessarily be the savior, but you got a guy like with that kind of scoring capability, you're coming in to, hey, this is the piece we're missing. We're finally free of the Tobias Harris contract. We're going to upgrade at that spot. And this is a guy that can, for stretches, can carry you offensively. He can get his own. He's a great catch and shoot guy. Sixers were one of the worst in the league last year on catch and shoot threes. He shot at like a 46% clip on that. So you're talking about playing off Maxey and Embiid in that way. Perfect as an off-the-ball guy, but you can also, if Embiid's out or Embiid's on the bench or Maxey's out of the game, Paul George is your primary offensive player at a much higher level than anybody else they've had in that spot. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm talking about between the ears. Is he have the skin thick enough to come in? And this is a guy that's had some struggles in the postseason. And he's been in cities where they were very forgiving about that.
Yeah, Indianapolis,
Oklahoma City. I mean, even the Clippers. You're living in, it's LA, but you're always considered the JV for the Lakers. Like, you're not getting near the scrutiny there. So his whole career has been kind of like that. Like, he's had some real head scratchers when they needed him, and he's never really been, dealt with too harshly in that regard. Even the one year he really struggled and like really came up small when they needed him was in the bubble. So there was not even anybody in the building, like watching the game. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, he comes to Philadelphia, and can you handle like what comes your way? If you struggle in big spots when they need you, it's not for everybody, man. And so that's my question. Would he want to do that? And we're going to find out. We're going to find out that I read a couple days ago, like there's a decent chance he opts in and then requests a trade like immediately, like by this weekend, potentially. So this could happen very fast with Paul George. We got to wait and see. Look, there's no doubt he's a massive upgrade in talent for the Sixers. My only question would be, and you've had too many guys running through that spot like Harden and Simmons that just weren't caught out for the pressure of postseason basketball in Philadelphia, and as badly as that team wants a championship, as that city wants a championship.
I mean, Legs, real quick, to your point, he tweeted out he's been watching film of Stephen A. Smith and others, Shannon Sharp, so he could become a better podcaster. Now, how do you think that flies when he shoots 2 for 13?
Yeah, man, that's like saying, what's the statement? So in terms of a clutch playoff performer, he's a great podcaster. Is that what you want? Is that what you want to hear people say?
I mean, like think about, like, to your point about Philadelphia, the last thing that you want to hear from like your savior, and he is, because he's coming in to then take you from here to here. And the last thing you want to hear is, hey, I'm going to become a better podcaster, a better investor, a better rapper, a better movie maker. Like, nobody wants to hear it. Just somebody come in and want to play basketball in Philadelphia and lead them to a title like Moses Malone did in 1983.
You know what I've always said repeatedly, and I said this on the air yesterday, what I've said about Philadelphia. Look, I played college basketball there. I didn't play professional sports there, but I've been there a long time. I know the city. I know the people. I know what it's like there, right? I said this. All they want, Philadelphia sports fans, is they want you to hurt as much when you lose as they do. That's all they want. They want you to lose sleep over it because it means that much to you to win, right? That's all they want. Play hard and have it hurt when you lose. They can forgive bad shooting nights in big spots. They can. What they can't forgive is if you look afraid, or if you look like it doesn't bother you as much as it bothers them, right? So, like, is Paul George, like, is he that hungry and desperate? And the reason he would pick Philly is, I want a championship so badly, and that's the place to go because of the talent they have at the top of the roster. And I think I could be the perfect piece to fill that out. And I want to help bring a championship to a great basketball city, man. And I am hungry for it. Like, that's what you want to hear. And I don't know that that's pumping through his veins. So is that where you want to go? I mean, they got a lot of money to spend. They're going to spend it on somebody.
What about something lesser? Do you build it in a different manner?
Possible. I mean, that's possible. Look, you might say, listen, you don't need 3 stars. You need 2 for sure. I mean, nobody's going to call I mean, for me, certainly, I'm talking about in terms of just all-around offensive capabilities. Like Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis are not stars. They're all excellent players. That's clearly the most versatile offensive team in the league. It's probably the most versatile defensive team in the league. And they got 5 different guys that can win matchups at any time. But they've got 2 real star offensive players. And then they got some really good players around them. Well, Philadelphia has 2 star offensive players. They might have the most dominant individual offensive player in terms of scoring in the NBA in Embiid. No matchup for him whatsoever. And then you got a guy that's now a legitimate top-tier, top-shelf offensive talent in Tyrese Maxey. So you've got 2. So do you instead build it differently, man, with great wing defenders, spot-up shooters? Certainly you're going to need a third guy that's like a capable scorer.
Is Brandon Ingram a guy that you like?
Yeah, the only thing about Brandon Ingram, man, I said this yesterday, and it was funny. People were kind of freaking out. I was kind of having some fun with this, but he's up for a max in New Orleans, which is 4 years, $208 million. And I said, if somebody gives him that money, there should be an investigation because look, the bottom line is this, and I know he was coming off an injury last year. I get it, but he played in that playoff series against Oklahoma City. He played anywhere from 32 to 38 minutes a game, 4 games in a row. He didn't hit 20 once. He averaged 14 points a game in the series. And in one of those games, he was taken out of the game because he was struggling so badly. And he sat on the bench. Well, everybody, and they made a run with their reserves. They made a run all the way back. It was a big deficit. They came all the way back in the game. And they kept showing him on the bench. He's just sitting there, moping and just looking miserable. And then people are trying to defend him he was just, he was upset at the way he was playing. Come on, man. I've been on teams, a lot of teams in my life, and I struggled certain nights. And if a different group was making a run, I was on my feet supporting those guys the entire time if the rest of the team was up like they were in that situation. So I'm not saying that's a total indictment, I'd never touch him because of that moment. I'm just saying in totality, does his body of work in his career, he's played 10 playoff games in his career, does that body of work lend itself to you thinking you're going to go out and pay him north of $30 million, whatever it's going to cost you, and lock him up for 4? I don't know that it does, man. He's also had a lot of injuries. I just don't know if that's the solution either.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. You look at him, and you go, is that the kind of guy you want to bring in? You want to bring in here? They need, it's a shame, right? Because if this is 3-4 years ago, well, Jimmy Butler's the perfect guy to go help you, lead you, and Embiid and him get along. But at this stage, you're going to go with it. How long is Jimmy going to last if you made that move? Right.
No question. And that's an interesting one too, because I think they're a little bit tired of that situation with Jimmy because he misses a lot of games. He's missed 92 games in the last 4 years, 92 games. And he doesn't really prioritize the regular season at all. And last year and then he was out for the playoffs. So you didn't even get that. You didn't even get playoff Jimmy, because he which is what they're hopefully counting on every year. But statistically, it was his worst year in 4 years in Miami, and he missed a lot of games, and then he wasn't available for the postseason. And then he was engaging in social media. If you remember, he was in street clothes talking about these teams that they were going to play were lucky that he wasn't there. And Pat Riley called him to task for that publicly by saying, if you're not playing, shut your mouth, basically. So that was very telling to me. It's wearing on them a little bit, that situation. So, but I don't know that that's the right answer for Philadelphia either. Unfortunately, I said this to somebody yesterday. Unfortunately, this isn't the best summer to have all of this financial flexibility. There are other summers that would have been better and probably coming down the pike too. Not as much this one. Now, you can pick up some really good pieces around Embiid and Maxey, and guess what? It would give you a chance to contend in the Eastern Conference. The key in that
case, go like a DeRozan, Klay Thompson, and just try to, you got old guys past their prime.
Yeah, the only thing about DeRozan is this is why Paul George is actually more attractive in terms of style of play. Because he can spend more time off the ball, and when he can do catch and release catch and release threes without having to put it back down. But when you have DeRozan is a heavy isolation, heavy usage player that operates in the middle areas of the floor. And, so that would put Maxey more off the ball. And obviously he's a very good catch and shoot 3-point shooter, but he's really dynamic when he's got the ball early in the offense and he's got the brush screen so he can turn the corner, get to the rim or go, guys go under. He can stop and shoot that deep three. And the ball will be out of his hands a lot more if you had a guy like DeRozan just because of the nature of his game. He is a big-time professional, consistent scorer. There's no question about it. And he owns the middle area of the floor, which I think is very important if you want to win a championship. Guys that can make tough 18-footers with a hand up, like that's important because that's where you go late in the clock in big spots. You got to get to a spot, elevate, and shoot the ball. Like he's as good at that as anybody of his generation. But it does affect Tyrese Maxey.
It appears that my number one choice is probably not gettable, attainable. But I love Lauri Markkanen. Would you go all in 5 number 1 picks and say, hey, Danny Ainge, here's 5 number 1 picks. Give me Lauri Markkanen.
I would, I don't know if it would take 5 picks. I don't know what the package would look like. I would do just about anything I had to do to get him.
Next to Embiid, a stretch like that? Oh, my God.
I mean, and he's actually a tough rebounder. Like he's not because he's tall and stretches the floor. People automatically correlate that sometimes with being soft. He grabs rebounds in traffic. Like he doesn't mind contact. I love Lauri Markkanen's game, and he's really an interesting story because when he came out, he had a very good rookie year, and then he regressed. And people thought he was like a bust, like that word would come up in the same sentence. And he just needed a change of scenery. And he got out of Chicago and things have really changed for him. And he is a big time offensive player now. Very consistent, runs the floor really well, can finish in transition, can obviously really shoot it. I would love to have Lauri Markkanen in Philadelphia. I don't know what that package would look like, but that's definitely, and look, you gotta, assume a team wants to dump a guy. Now, earlier in the year, that was like the rage was like, oh, Markkanen's out. Because we were talking about, I remember Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Finally cashing in a lot of those picks that they've stockpiled. I mean, they've got, 372 picks that they've got in their closet. It's like they were going to use some to finally go after and like, oh, we're going to cash some in now. But then right about 3 weeks before the trading deadline, Utah caught fire. And they actually played themselves from like 14th in the West all the way up to like the cusp of the play-in. And people, it changed their thinking. And then they were horrible at the end of the year and put them right back in this mode. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to blow this up and go in a different direction. Man, for me, a guy that age that's that good, that's got high character, high integrity, I'm Utah. I'm saying I'm building around him. Where would he build? But around him. Let's go. And then, you add what you can. Utah's a very difficult place, though, to attract free agents. And that's probably part of the thinking. It's harder to do it. And maybe they don't think he can be like that top of the food chain guy I mentioned earlier.
All right. The NBA drafts tonight. You'll be there. What's the story of this draft? What are you looking at? Everybody talks about no top of the draft players. Who do you like? How does this thing go tonight?
Here's what's crazy about this draft. I've never seen anything like this. Like I'm talking to people at the same time. I'm looking at all these, I don't even know how many mock drafts you could pull up right now. If you Googled mock drafts, there's 100 of them. Some of them are a joke. Like they're not even reliable sources, but there are some out there that I really trust these people and they put together good ones. And my point is I've never seen a greater lack of consensus on picks in my life. My point being this, normally in any given year, Anthony, I could pull up, let's say, my 5 favorite mock draft sources, and I could put them right next to each other on a screen. And if a dude is slotted to go 7 in the first one, the next one he'll be maybe 9, 10. The next one he might be 5, then 8, then back to 6 on the 5th one, right? These drafts, I've seen guys slated at the 5th pick and you scroll the page over and then he's 16th in the next one. And you're going, this is what we're dealing with. And I'm even talking about the very top. It seems like there's a consensus now that Zachary Richarche from France, it looks like he's going to be the consensus 1. Alex Sarr, it looks like he's going to be 2, like in some configuration. You got a lot of mock drafts, Anthony, that have Reed Sheppard as the 3rd pick in the draft. And look, I like Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard's a nice player. Reed Sheppard's going to have a good NBA career. He's 6'1". He was listed at like 6'4" at Kentucky. He's 6'1". He can really shoot it, but he's 6'1". And he's a competitive defender, like on the ball and stuff. But I keep getting back to it. He's 6'1". But I see a lot of draft boards, Anthony, he's considered the 3rd pick in the draft. I mean, this is where we're at. Now, when you start getting down to where the Sixers are picking, good luck coming up with a consensus of what they're about to do. It's crazy to me. So
I think they trade the pick.
You asked me how to sum the draft up. That's how I'd sum it up. Yeah. Complete lack of consensus on these picks. It's going to be a wild night. There's going to be movement and trades. All kinds of stuff's going to go down tonight. And here's what's going to happen. I will tell you this. People that are trashing this draft, and I understand why, because they're not familiar with these players. And even the guys that are one-and-done college guys don't look like they had enough of a freshman year to warrant going in the top 20. I get it. Here's the thing, though. You can guarantee this. There's going to be players up and down the first round, and probably in this draft more than any, the second round, that are going to emerge. It always happens. The problem is right now, we don't know who they are. Like, who's going to be the guys
in some ways,
4 years from now turned into players? We don't know.
You're spot on. In some ways, it's a GM's dream, because if you're a great evaluator, you'll be able to maneuver in this draft to really hit on guys you like. Like honestly, you've been busy with the playoffs and the finals, but like I would have had you sitting in a room watching tape for the last 2 months. They come out, I'd slide food under the door for you, and then I want you to come out, and then I think you could pick gems the way you evaluate talent. Is there anybody just cursory that you like that you got a little bit of an eye on?
Well, first of all, you're not sliding a Primo's hoagie under that door. It's too thick. So you got to open the door. I'll reach my hand around and grab it out of your hand to get my Primo's hoagie if you lock me in a room like that. There's a number of guys. I was talking with some of the guys that I really trust. Fran Fraschilla being a guy that I really rely on a lot, because he's I know I pulled this up. He's very familiar with a lot of these foreign players that obviously I don't get as much a chance to see during the season. I'm too busy dealing with the league. So I hit up Fran. I hit up Bobby Marks and people like that. Zach Lowe. They're more about the free agency stuff and like trades that NBA teams are looking at. And I got a whole list of guys, because I said one thing that I think every team that's picking in the middle of the first round, like in that area, you can't ever really have enough like long wing defenders, guys that really can guard, that have a lot of want to. Maybe some don't have as much of the offensive upside. Ryan Dunn is a guy like that at University of Virginia.
Yeah.
A lot of people like this. I mean, you watch film on him and you're like, my goodness, Mike, you're talking about a guy that could turn into a first-team all-league player defensively. But he's so raw offensively, you don't know ultimately what the upside is there. Jacoby Walter is a guy that's going to be around that area of the draft, can really shoot it. I mean, off the ball, you're looking for somebody that can spot up the floor, and he can shoot a little bit off the move too. But there's doesn't create as much as you'd like him to do. Defensively, is it going to be a problem? These are the kind of things you've got to wonder, can they be shored up? That's the hardest part, I think, of this draft, is having the front office people trying to project out 2 years, 3 years in addressing these players' weaknesses. Can we make this guy into a respectable 3-point shooter? Can we get him into a spot where his handle's good enough that he can get a little bit of ball screen action to get his own shot? Can a guy add strength so that he can guard better and keep guys in front? And that's what they're trying to do, because what you're seeing in this draft is a lot of these guys do something really well right now. Some guys, it's their athleticism. Some guys, it's their shooting. There's some guys in this that are, playmakers. There's a couple guards at the top that are really good, versatile players, but they don't shoot it that well. Shelton from Connecticut is at the top of the list. He could end up being a great lead guard in the NBA, but he's a 27% 3-point shooter at a short line. What's that going to translate to at a deeper line? And that means you're just guardable. So this is the hard part, Anthony, about the draft this year is these are a lot of really unfinished prospects, and you're trying to figure out how much you can add to their deficiencies. But each of these guys has something that people love, and it's usually like one quality that they love, and now you're looking at the other stuff, wondering how much you're going to be able to do with that.
By the way, OG, as we're talking, OG has opted out.
Yeah.
So
that happened. I heard that yesterday. I don't know if it's official today, but I heard that yesterday. Now. And here's the thing. Let's be clear on this. They didn't give up what they gave up to get OG Anunoby to let him walk out the door.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
First of all, because Mikal Bridges, like that's a guy that if they wanted Mikal Bridges, they've probably been thinking about Mikal Bridges since Christmas. So it's not like this is like some new revelation. Oh, Mikal's available.
Sure.
Right. So I mean, they've known that all along. You don't give up what you gave up to Toronto to get OG Anunoby, and then he just walks out the door. That doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, I heard from a very reliable source this morning that he's planning on staying in New York.
Yeah. Two quick things, and then I'll let you roll the Bristol. One, JJ Redick, I thought of you right away. When he gets the job, all I'm thinking about is you, because you need to be coaching. But what do you think about JJ going to the Lakers?
JJ and I've gotten pretty close over the last couple of years. Done a lot of work with him, had a lot of great basketball conversations with him, just gotten to know him personally, his family. So we're pretty tight. And I was, obviously in direct contact with him the entire time. He was kind of tight-lipped on it, as I knew he would be. I wasn't probing him, but I knew it was a legit thing that this potentially could happen. Of course, the Hurley thing threw everybody for a loop, including him. That kind of caught him off guard. But he's like a guy that was like, okay, whatever, knowing that, okay, they went hard after him. They should have gone hard after him. Didn't offend him or like make him feel like he wasn't their first choice. When a guy wants to coach with no experience, it's hard to get a gig. Obviously, I'm proof of that. He was going to jump at it no matter what. So here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to for JJ Redick. He obviously has the mind for it. He sees everything happening at the same time. I think similar to me in that way. That's why we kind of bonded. We see it that same way, like the details of stuff that's happening while the game's going on full speed. You're noticing a detail that was not paid attention to that lets you clean it up. And I'm talking about, forget seeing it in a film session. My goodness, if you're an NBA coach and you can't see it out in a film session, that somebody didn't have the right angle on the screen or the timing on the reversal wasn't good. If you can't see that, you shouldn't be in that position. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the moment, live action. You see it so you can address it then. And it's special. And I think JJ has that ability. Okay. That's first. He's obviously a very good communicator. He can articulate what he wants in a way that players are going to be able to understand it. He's got, recent connections in the league. So a lot of these players, like they know JJ, they played against JJ. They know his profile as a player. He's got that. Obviously he's got the backing of LeBron, which is big in the locker room. His biggest challenge, I think, is going to be he's such a type A plus personality that he wants to control like so much, right? And that's why he was loving coaching youth basketball and, college. You have a lot more control in terms of your year to year. It's a little bit out of control in college because of the NIL, but I'm talking about in terms of once you get your team for the year, you control like what those guys are doing to a much greater extent. It's not the case in the NBA. Because I got news for you. JJ Redick is not the guy that's going to be taking the corner three for the Lakers. That's going to be somebody else that's not JJ Redick. And JJ Redick can't dive on the floor for a 50-50 ball. He can't guard a guy. He can't slide over as a weak baseline defender, right? He can't do that stuff. He's counting on other guys to do that. And the frustration that there's so much out of your control at the NBA level, and just losing games because as a player, when you lose games, you always think, well, tomorrow night I can step on the court. I can affect the outcome. You can't as much as a coach. And that's going to be a hard thing for him. I think the lack of control in certain areas of it. And then, but listen, by the way, not to mention the fact you got maybe 2 years to compete at a high level with the Lakers. I don't think they're a contender anyway, but at least you got a shot with LeBron and AD. And then what? What's the next iteration of the Lakers look like?
Yeah.
Well, who's the next star player for the Lakers? You're going to build everything around AD as your top guy going forward after that? I mean, what does that leave you? So that's going to be more questions. But the bottom line is the guy wanted to coach desperately. His name was in the mix for Toronto last year, Charlotte this year, and then he ends up with the Lakers job in large part because he formed a relationship with LeBron James, and people got to see them in real time on their podcast, communicate and like collaborate. And it was a great selling point for him. And it was a brilliant move by him. And I think it led to this job. And obviously I'm wishing him nothing but the best. And I hope he's got a lot of success. And I'm sure I'll be in contact with him throughout the process.
Our maybe assistant coach, Tim Legler. Is the Tim Legler basketball camp sold out?
Close. My wife, I think, posted yesterday, the camp coordinator, my beautiful wife, posted yesterday, we're just about done with the 8 to 9-year-old. That's almost filled. I think maybe less than 10 spots left with a month to go before the camp. And maybe 20 spots in the 13 to 16 age group. And there's still a decent number, of spots in the 10 to 12, which is the afternoon session. So, yeah, if you want to get in, TimLeglerBasketballCamp.com. It will be sold out. The last 3 years, we've had to shut it down 2 weeks from camp. So it will sell out. It's a great teaching camp. You've seen it, Ant. You're out there, man.
The exact dates are?
July 29th to August 1st in Pittman, New Jersey. It's no more than 15 minutes from the Bridges in Philadelphia, right over there in South Jersey. Incredible facility, total turf, 5 courts under one roof. Incredible staff, man. I got the best.
I have to jump in because I got to tell people, my kids, in fact, Massimo will be in attendance again this year. I tell all my kids, I coach 5th and 6th grade basketball at St. Margaret's. I tell all the parents, the kids need to go there. They learn. The guys that Legs has that are incredible teachers. It's really, really worth it. And you get that brain. All right. So trust me, it's a great camp, man. It's you got a kid, they need to be at this camp.
And I want to last thing I want to say about this. First of all, people understand too, it's co-ed. So it's boys and girls, and you could be any level, man. I've had kids come through my camp that end up being full Division I, full ride Division I scholarship players. And I've had kids that come into my camp that have never touched a basketball in their life. And we work with, and I'm really good at separating so that you're learning at the appropriate level you're supposed to. And we cater it toward who's in front of me. If you're a higher level player, you're going to be challenged more. If you're a beginner, we're going to have to get down the basics with you. But it's all about teaching. And my goal every year, 2 things. When you leave on Thursday, you're going to love the game a lot more than you did when you walked in the gym. I promise you. You're also going to be given the tools of how to get better, because that's been the biggest confusing things to kids. I want to get better. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing when I'm by myself, and I want to just work out. What should I be working on? We're going to give you the building blocks for that. There's a competitive league within it that kids really get amped for championship games on the last day of camp. And then the last part, Anthony, as you know, a big part of this camp is my daily message, which could be off topic of basketball and just about things that are important in life to succeed, and integrity things, and being a great teammate and stuff like that. They're going to get a lot of messages like that from me throughout the week as well. So I think it's the best camp out there for youth basketball players. So hopefully, people that haven't been yet, come check it out, man. It's our 17th year. And like I said, we're at the point where we're selling out every year. So I'm very proud of what it's become, and it's my favorite week of the summer without question.
Yeah, it's awesome. My brother, I love you, buddy. Thank you. Great stuff as always. Safe journey. We'll be watching tonight.
You got it, man. I'll catch up soon.
There he is, the great Legs. It's leg day. Brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the TrueMark difference. TrueMark.com/PHLY. So anything, boys, that Legs said that kind of moved you?
I don't know, because the aroma of the Hennessy is just really...
I've been drinking Hennessy for the last 15 minutes trying to get over this.
Hendo.
Oh, my God.
So,
my God.
It's not even 11 a.m.
Oh,
my second
God.
Hennessy.
Thank you, Sixers.
Everybody come out to the draft party tonight. It's going to be fun.
Here's a tweet. Paul George, this is our buddy John Clark. I'm sorry, Windy.
Oh, your buddy Windy.
Windy.
It's weird you confused John Clark with Windy.
Yeah,
Windy can go Windy.
John Clark reposted it from Windy. Paul George with a 4-year contract for over $200 million. He has until Saturday to exercise his $48.8 million option. Golden State is interested.
What?
And they could be the major threat to the Sixers.
Yeah, because he wants to stay out west. He likes that West Coast.
He doesn't want to come here. Everything that Leg said. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, he's
not built for it.
I don't think he's built for it. Listen, would I like to have it? I would. All right? At this point, I would. There's no perfect answer. Paul George is a legitimate talent. My fear is you're going down the Harden road in that sense. Yeah. But my options are limited. Other than going and paying for Laurie Marketing and hoping that he becomes available, he's probably your best option.
I think Money Mar in the chat room says what we're all thinking. PG equals pure garbage.
Truth. Absolute truth.
PG, pure garbage. Playoff PP.
It's not fun, man.
Yes. Oh, my God.
All these options that we're talking about, like your Paul Georges, your Brandon Ingrams. Like,
Well, but Paul George is different than Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, right? Like, in the talent.
Jimmy, but like all those, you throw in Jimmy Butler. Like
I know. They all got warts. You're right.
The moat.
You're right. What are you doing, man? You don't give me
You want a little nip?
Yeah, give me a nip. I need a
There's some
nip.
Hendo.
Are you kidding me?
Dude,
After
I
all
haven't had
this?
Hennessy since high school. It's just
Hennessy,
crazy.
baby. Just a little bit. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
just a little nip.
That's it.
Take the edge off.
Oh, God.
Need more than that to take the edge off.
Really? After today? Unbelievable. All right. The 10,
Oh, dude.
this portion of the program is presented by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com. I'm just smelling it.
Oh, as soon as I opened it,
Yeah,
poured my
I just
first
like
one,
to
I was
smell
like,
it.
man,
I'll be
it's
honest
so
with you.
smell.
I love the smell of whiskey. I
Yeah.
like the smell almost
Whiskey
better than
in the-
drinking it.
Love the smell of whiskey
Is
in
this
the
cognac
morning.
technically? Yes,
It's cognac.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Yes, it is. All right. VG's Nugs. What do we got?
We got any reads or anything? We good? Right into it?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Yes. Go. You take it away.
I know. I was excited for VG's Nugs too.
Yeah,
He's
no.
already drunk off the fumes over here.
Fumes will do it.
my conversation with Legs, that winding. I love talking hoops with him. I do. I love it.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And it's so much fun, but all the stuff going on, and the Knicks are so good. Yeah. Anyway, my bet. Timichkov is right.
So
Salud. What do you say in Russian?
I don't know.
What's the?
Prost is German. I don't know.
Yeah.
Michkov. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at the
gentlemen,
man in the box. He's already starting.
Gentlemen, while you're taking these shots, make sure you guys are washing them down with that Olipop, guys. All right. Talk about a little about Olipop. Listen, we're gonna wash it down. The Hennessy with the Olipop. It's refreshing. The best part about it, not only does it taste good, but it's good for you, and that's why we are telling you guys to drink Olipop. All right. It's the world's first functional soda. It has that classic soda taste and has the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients that supports that gut health. Because I know a lot of us, we want to throw up this morning. I get it. All right. Best part about Olipop, it's 2 to 5 grams of sugar with 9 grams of fiber. That's what VG loves. He loves that fiber in it. And you can also find this in over 30,000 different retailers nationwide. Our favorite Wawa carries it now. You can get your cup of Joe in the morning, get Olipop for lunch, get that hoagie with it, right? And then, of course, you can find it at Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite. You can get delivered with GoPuff, you name it. Olipop is accessible for you guys. All right. And we always have you hooked up with that promo code. PHLY20 will get you 20% off your next Olipop order. Just keep in mind, though, this discount only applies to one-time orders, not subscription orders. Olipop is sold online at Drink Olipop and on Amazon as well. So, guys, if you're looking for that chaser or something to be accompanied with your meal, choose Olipop. And a quick reminder, it is 10:44 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. We want to take a quick second to thanking you guys. Listen, it's not an easy morning. We want to thank you guys for tuning on in with us, all right? If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys are hitting that like button first, then subscribe. Also, do yourself a favor, hit that little bell button, because that'll let you know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show is live, as well as the other PHLY sports shows as well. Speaking of PHLY sports, let's talk about the schedule here today. So following us at 12 p.m., we have PHLY Eagles. At 1 o'clock, we have PHLY Flyers. I will be returning back with Bill. Bill Matz and myself will be live for PHLY Flyers. At 3:30, when the Phillies are done, we have a post-game show here today. So PHLY Phillies will take you on for the post-game show there. And then tonight, right? Tonight is the draft night here. Will the Sixers pick someone. Will the Sixers trade the pick? You're going to find out with PHLY Sixers as they will be live for the NBA draft. And speaking of which, guys, speaking of the draft, we have a draft party as always, guys. Listen, the parties have been great for the Phillies, for the Sixers in the past, for the playoffs as well, even for the Flyers. They've been fantastic. We're back at it here tonight. Garage in Fishtown, all right? Listen, for all my young folks, if you're out in Sips, you need that after spot, we got you covered at Garage. Watch the draft with us. We have some Coors Light specials, so definitely check that out as you're hanging out with the PHLY Sixers team. I'll be there as well. On Friday, we have another draft. Not one, but two this week. The Flyers draft party will be live at Chickies and Pete in South Philly. All right, listen.
Crab fries and pucks, baby.
You're telling me. I love the food at Chickies and Pete's. They're phenomenal. We'll be watching. Listen, obviously the NHL draft, there's a lot more at stake because we're still rebuilding. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The PHLY Flyers team will be joined by Broad Street Hockey for this one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And you guys want to make sure you're also part of the diehards, all right? Diehards are the best group of fans that there are in the city. Not only do you get exclusive content from our beat writers here at PHLY Sports, you get all those updates. Everything I'm talking about gets sent right directly to you. You also get the discounts on merchandise. And, of course, you get the access to the Discord chats, which is phenomenal. A great community to be a part of. So that's what we got going on here at PHLY Sports. We always got you connected with our teams, cuz.
All right. Here's a tweet from Irvin Magic Johnson. Mikal Bridges traded to the Knicks. Wow. Hats off to Leon Rose and William Wesley, a.k.a. Worldwide West. This trade changes the landscape in the Eastern Conference. Now the Knicks will be challenging the Celtics for first place in the East while putting the pressure on the Sixers and Bucks to improve. Thanks, Magic.
Hey, Captain Obvious. Irvin.
Captain Obvious.
The Knicks are going to get further than the Sixers.
All right, dude. You say it with glee.
He's smiling.
It's what drives
He smiles
man
when
in
he
the
says
box. Paul Skeeve. Not Paul Skeeves.
I'm dying inside.
He's Paul Skeeve. Skeeve over there.
I'm melting inside from all this.
Look at that. You're smiling.
He's
You
smiling.
rat bastard. All right. VG's
Some
nugs.
nugs.
Yeah.
Let's try and do some good news. We'll start off with some good news. Hall of Fame, hockey, Philadelphia. Your boy, Jeremy Roenick.
Oh, I love the JR.
Yeah, I got all that.
Yeah,
He's
so
in
what,
this
JR?
class this year, class of 2024.
Yeah.
Props to JR.
I love JR. We got to get him on. He's one of the greatest. I love having him on. He's one of my. He's the best. JR.
He was always good when you had him on.
Yeah, I love him. He's one of the great guys. I tell
Everything's
you,
coming up Flyers.
I know.
He's got a personality.
Listen,
Got the
I
Flyers
got to
shirt
give
on.
credit to Vince, our GM, Vince Pellegrini, who was like, dude, Flyers. So you mark my words. In 2 years, the Flyers are going to be the story in town.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't being rude. I thought because you were on later today, you weren't imbibing, but
I'll have a little
it's
bit.
great with the Olipop.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna
lemon,
do
lime,
too.
and the Henny.
That's the only reason why I'm doing it.
Listen, the Olipop goes with everything.
Yeah.
I saw Bill post a Michkov jersey, the 39.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, as soon as I
No,
saw it,
I know,
I'm
dude. It
about
looks
to buy
cool.
that.
It's cool. No, we're going to be all. I was looking up Russian for cheers. It's Zazarova.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Zazarova.
Hey, the Cardinals traded Steve Carlton to the Phillies in 1972 because they offered him 55 G's and he wanted 65 G's. So 10 grand, they lost Steve Carlton. This is like a back in the day moment, I think, for Rite Aid.
Yes, that
Talk
is
about a
our
little
back in the day.
This
Very
is
good.
1972.
Very good, by the way.
Right? So, yeah, they traded him to the Phillies for Rick Wise. And I wanted to bring up a Rick Wise game. In June of 1971, Rick Wise pitched a no-hitter. And he hit 2 home runs.
Look at those glasses.
In the game there, he threw a no-hitter. So kudos to Rick Wise. We're thinking about
Rick
you.
Wise. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for him for the Steve Carlton deal.
Dude, think about this. For $10,000, the St. Louis Cardinals traded Steve Carlton. Tariq Skubal, who is this generation's Steve Carlton,
yeah.
right, will probably sign a deal for like $300 million.
He smells like the Yankees.
I mean, 10 grand. 10 grand in 1972. Like, it's a long time ago, but it ain't that long.
For $10,000.
Like $10,000 and you didn't sign Steve Carlton. That's outrageous.
That's wild.
It is wild.
I really loved Rick Wise's look, the glasses. That's like really cool look.
Yeah. Vince taking some shrapnel after you mentioned him. Khalil saying, Vince don't know nothing. Stop it, cuz.
It's the man.
Hey, the White Sox, there's rumors about, what is it, Lewis Roberts?
Yes.
So,
Luis Robert.
yeah, people are talking about maybe the Phils, but they're scouts out at White Sox games, and the Phillies do not have any scouts out there. So it's Padres, Dodgers, and Mariners with their scouts.
Dodgers.
Scouting the what? You imagine the Dodgers grab him?
Seriously. No, I know they got 2 kids they're playing every day in the outfield, Vargas and Pages. But you're going to add that bat? They probably will.
Oh, God.
No, come on, don't say that. On today of all days,
That doesn't mean anything, though.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, there's going to be an arms race. Like,
of course.
Teams that, Atlanta will go after somebody
Of course.
and all that stuff. And I listen, I love this Phillies team. I mean,
I do too. I do.
like, when I say a lot, they're every bit of, like, it's impossible to handicap what's going to happen, right? Like, you're going to have, Phillies and Dodgers, and then the Yankees and Orioles. I mean, that's what it's looking like.
Yeah. Dave Portnoy, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday.
Yeah, I saw him win
the World Series,
So that means we're making the World Series, and we're losing them.
Hey, who
that
knows?
trend continues.
Speaking of arms and arms races, this is our second nug of Nolan Ryan this week, but this one I just can't pass up. Nolan Ryan in 1974 pitched 13 innings, 19 strikeouts in a no-decision game. How many pitches do you think he threw?
13 innings he threw?
235 pitches.
Dude.
Oh, my
Dude,
God.
there's no way that would happen.
235 pitches? No, the guys don't do that in 3 starts.
No.
Animal.
Dude, 235 pitches on a day?
No decision, 13 innings. He pitched a full 13 innings.
How do you, man, what was his velo at?
Right?
Oh, my God, that's outrageous.
Dude, that's insane.
He's one of a kind. You'll never see something like that ever again.
Now,
Especially
I
today.
mean, like, to a lesser extent, Clemens was like that. But, my God, 235 pitches. My God.
His arm not fall
Pretty
off.
wild. Have you heard?
Schoolboy, yesterday, they took him out. I think he had 81 pitches.
I'll tell you right now.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was a little north of it, but.
It was 87. It was. It wasn't. It wasn't over. It wasn't close. I think it was like
He threw 91 pitches.
91. Okay, and he didn't even go out for the 8th.
No.
I mean, you figure you throw 15 to 20 pitch inning. At most, he's at 111.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. It's great number.
Tyler Glasnow looks like a celebrity, an actor. Have you guys seen this?
No.
Yeah, people comparing him to the Oppenheimer star, Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Wow, he does look like Cillian Murphy.
Wow.
Looks just like him.
Yeah.
He's not Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I know he was an Oppenheimer. But what was he best known for?
Yeah.
I don't know. Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York.
I don't know.
Ski
Gangs. It was a gang, but
Right.
like where? The gang. Oi.
I don't
Peaky
know.
Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, I don't watch that.
Oh, you
How
gotta
could you
watch.
not watch Peaky Blinders? I mean, Steve watches Peaky Blinders.
He would. He watches The Boys, too. You watch The Boys?
Love the boys.
No,
Great
but
show.
that's a great. Peaky Blinders is such a great show. Charlie Shelby.
You should watch it.
Yeah, apparently I should.
He's Oppenheimer. He's Tommy Shelby.
Do you know the other doppelganger that they've been talking about?
What's
Matt
that, Steve?
Strom looking like Nick Cage.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We had the guy yesterday who built a fence with a middle finger for his HOA association.
Right.
So
Small
some
fence.
people have mentioned this in the chat. I did see it. So there was a guy who had a boat in his driveway, and the city of Seaside, California, said you got to build a fence to block your boat. So he built a fence and had an artist paint his boat, the front of his boat on the fence, so
Wow,
it
that's
still looks like
awesome.
the boat is sitting in there.
That's fantastic.
Eddie Allen Constable is the guy who had
I
this,
see that now.
this
Okay.
fence built with
That
the
guy-
boat painted on it.
That guy's playing 4D chess with those people. That is great.
Brilliant.
I got my neighbor parking his boat on an illegal spot in front of my house right now.
Uh-oh. You calling the township?
Nah, I'm not.
No,
It's
he's
not
not
affecting me.
Yeah. Not a rat. JP's not a rat.
It's funny because
No rat zone.
him and his son are shirtless outside on a Sunday washing it down. I'm like, guys, like tank tops? You never heard of that?
You watching that?
Oh, shirtless too? Oh, that's bad.
I live on a main road, man. It's rough out there. It's a bad scene.
Hey, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're doing a movie.
I saw this, a Hallmark
movie
That's
called
unbelievable.
Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story starring Tyler Hines, Hunter King, and Ed Begley Jr.
Renee's all over this.
So this
So's Vince. Speaking of Pellegrini, he's a Hallmark
big
guy.
Hallmark
Yes. He loves his Hallmark movies. Get out of here. Yes.
They're all the same.
Dude.
They're the same premise. It's the same story.
Here, I
It's
got
just-
the premise of
Badass
this
what
one.
destination are they at?
This is a Chiefs love story. Elena Higman is sure that her family's lifelong history as a Chiefs super fans make them a front runner to win the team's Fan of the Year contest. Derek, director of the fan engagement, is tasked with evaluating how Alana and her family stack up against the other two finalists. As the pair spends time together, it's clear there's a spark between them. But when her grandfather, Ed Begley Jr.'s vintage Chiefs good luck winner hat goes missing, Anna begins to doubt everything she believed about fate, destiny, and even questions her future with Derek, unless there is a little Christmas magic to throw a Hail Mary.
That's so horrendous.
The Chiefs have jumped the shark.
Oh, that's great.
With the Taylor
Jeffrey
Swift,
Lurie,
the
don't get any
Hallmark.
ideas.
Well, no, I mean, I think they kind of copied us a little bit because we had the album, the Christmas album, for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, but that's
and now
dope.
they're coming out with a Christmas movie.
Yeah, but our album
They
was
got to
dope.
try to be better.
I wonder if Andy's going to make a guest
That's
appearance.
Santa.
Yeah. Oh, he would be
Yeah.
great. Andy would be awesome, man.
Yeah,
The
Andy
mall
Claus.
Santa.
I got to call Spags and tell him he's got to get in the movie. Like, your Spags is such. These football coaches, they don't know anything other than football.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand there's a whole world.
Does he even know what
Eat, breathe,
Hallmark
sleep
Channel
football.
is?
When he will have no clue. One day he goes something he didn't know that, like, he's like, dude, I'm at the facility 16 hours a day, like 7 days a week. I don't know what's going on in the world. Like, I just know about cover two. Like, so there's no way I gotta get him in it because he talked like a football guy. Listen, you gotta get that hat back now. You gotta tell her you love her now.
Get
That's
that
good, man.
back. Hey, college football 25 is coming out for EA Sports.
Oh, I cannot wait.
So they ranked the top 10 toughest places to play in the game. I guess that affects the players. So what do you think? Give me who you think's in the top 10?
Clemson's. I forget the place.
Death Valley.
Clemson is
Yeah,
not.
Yeah. LSU, Baton Rouge.
Number 3.
All right. Michigan.
Tuscaloosa.
No, Big House not on the top 10.
Ohio State.
Ohio State, number 4.
Alabama.
You gotta be kidding
Alabama,
me.
number 2.
Tennessee, Rocky Top.
No.
No. Nebraska? Because
No.
they're a big.
Number 10
How
is
about
Happy
UT?
Valley.
Texas?
Happy Valley, number 6.
Wow.
Texas, no.
No Texas?
Oklahoma?
No. Oklahoma, number 8.
Wow, no Texas, but Norman?
Well,
Yeah,
you're
Gainesville.
close with Texas.
Gainesville, number 10.
How about Florida State?
Tallahassee, number 9.
I'm going on a
So
limb.
you're
West-
missing.
What do we got?
You're missing 7.
7?
So you got Florida 10, Florida State
What do we
9.
got? 7? What else? Just 7?
You're missing 7. You're
And
missing
1.
number 1.
Oh, number 1.
West
You're missing
Virginia?
number 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a great guess.
No. Nope.
No.
Oh, West Virginia's nasty.
Yeah, they're crazy out there, coach.
All right, real quick. Who are we missing? We're missing. How about Iowa?
Nope.
No.
Nebraska.
No, I guess.
you're-
Well, we got a bunch of them on our team.
Georgia?
Georgia,
the
number
Eagles.
5.
Georgia should be.
It's number 5.
There's a Big 10 at number 7. And I think it's a Big 12, number 1.
It's not.
Big 12's number 1?
I think so.
Well, who would it
I
be?
mean-
It would be. Wow, no Oregon too. Like Oregon's pretty. Like as
Think of Chiefs.
that's unbelievable.
Jeez. Oh, Texas Tech?
7 is Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah,
Camp Randall?
I can
Number
see that.
1 overall, Kyle Field, Texas A&M.
I always knew they had a big.
Yeah, I thought.
But like Texas,
I was
A&M,
surprised at number 1.
They do that 12th man. They have the whole 12th man
Oh,
thing.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
Okay.
and A&M.
Now I'm about to watch a Texas A&M game.
Yeah, so do you know what that means? Like, it's going to affect. So you know how you play Madden and you can look at the play prior to snapping the ball. You can see the route that the receiver. So when you go into that, it's going to actually shake.
Yeah,
So
I remember
like
that.
the routes are going to be all wild looking and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
The
That's
pretty
crowd
cool.
effect is.
I
gonna
gotta tell you, I'm first day. Download that.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
Me and Massimo are gonna have battles.
We're gonna be up all night playing that game.
That's where I'm like thrilled to have boys. I got
Yeah, and apparently they're connecting college football with the new Madden, so that if you make a player like my player, you go through the 4 years of college, you can then take him into Madden and have his professional career, which is really
Dude,
awesome.
you should see. I talked to somebody that they're working with MLB The Show. I think I told you guys this, did I not? About how they have a bat, right? And your bat has a chip in it. It's a smart bat. And it gives you all the launch angles, sweet spots and everything. Gives you all those stats. But also, you connect the bat to MLB The Show and your player. And the more you swing in success in the bat in Little League and in your travel teams will correlate to the player that you created on MLB The Show.
I do like
awesome.
that.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
The next level stuff that video games and all this virtual reality thing is going to take us to.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of it's scary with AI, but like at the flip side, like imagine like a hologram table and you're playing Madden on that. And you're just sitting like watching it from a bird's eye perspective. Some of the things are really cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to finish on good news. Positive note. Bryce Harper. He's having a good run.
He's hot.
Since May 1st, he is number one in the National League in home runs and number one overall in RBI, walks, extra base hits, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, and total bases. He is number one in baseball.
Wow, that's
across
crazy.
all those categories, yeah. So he's on fire.
He is. Certified streak.
Yeah.
Let's see if he carries you today. You like him today? Turnbull pitching today.
I like the over today.
Going to Texas.
Yeah.
And going back home to Detroit Tigers.
It's a bullpen game for the Tigers. I like the over today. Over's 9. I think some runs get put up.
Like the Phils today.
That's on BG's
Yeah, maybe
best bets.
I don't know. He better
6-3
hustle.
today.
All right, Skeeve. All right. That'll
doesn't
do
need
it for
accountability.
today, right?
Yeah, I mean, that'll do it for now.
Draft. NBA draft. My name is Humpty. Have a great day, everybody. Let's see what happens. All right. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about it. Be safe, and we'll see you then.
Go Flyers.
Yeah.
We all silly like the mayor.